Some breaking news to tell you about involving actress and comedian Tiffany Haddish. She was arrested this morning for DUI in Beverly Hills.
Don't ask me to.
A telling enlighten you regarding including entertainer and comic Tiffany Haddish. She was captured earlier today for DUI in Beverly Slopes. Don't request that I do just to gracious. She's a decent individual spat, so decent, thus sweet, that pleasant. That decent I'm worn out on being pleasant to. You raggedy? And you all languid sluggish, I can't stand while I'm really buckling down as I'm doing this difficult work, and afterward, individuals are eating off of me, and afterward, things are getting lost in that noise and I'm being dealt with. Not great. Tiffany Haddish has ultimately depended on some lovely eye-catching stuff of late. And it seems to be Feline Williams could have surrendered us a heads about her propensity to work up discussion, so of late Haddish was captured for driving impaired, and Williams, the comic known for his no-limit style, felt quite unsure about where her vehicle and vocation was going. He didn't simply toss somewhat concealed heish, he basically eclipsed her in a tempest of analysis. In a new appearance on Honest and Wanda in the first part of the Day show, Williams didn't keep down. He took pokes at a few individual jokesters, as well as he made Haddish the focal point of consideration in this discussion. New off winning an Emmy for his visitor job on Atlanta, Williams took advantage of the chance to scrutinize Abaddon's fast ascent to fame during his evaluate. Williams got straight to the point. He raised questions about Gehenna's comedic abilities, indicating that she probably won't create her own material and proposing she hasn't really secured herself as a veritable comic. So what's actually the scoop with Haddish? Well, I have every one of the subtleties for yourself, and trust me, you'll need to keep close by until the finish of this video to figure out what's been happening. Fellows that no lady would converse with in Lenox Shopping Center, not to mention you making them famous actors. Why? Since you know ain't no one falling asleep with them, you possibly got Tiffany Haddish. Feline Williams didn't keep down when he addressed Tiffany Abaddon's parody abilities. He recommended that she probably won't make her own jokes and hasn't really shown what her can do as a real comic. He clearly referenced that Haddish has been doing satire since she was 16. Williams offered a strong expression, saying she been doing satire since she was 16. You can't let me know your one Tiffany Haddish joke. Why? Since she ain't done a visit yet, she ain't done an exceptional, she has not demonstrated Ted the capacity to make quips consecutive for an hour to no one. Williams kept on communicating distrust about Gehenna's parody vocation, and it seems like his prior questions may be tormenting her now. He proceeded to reprimand the business, saying they're speedy to censure jokesters like Monique, while elevating somebody like Haddish, who, as per Williams, didn't actually compose young lady's trip. He tossed an inquiry at the crowd, posing assuming they accept Haddish composed the content, or on the other hand, in the event that it was given to her, the idea that Haddish probably won't be the inventive power behind her prosperity created a ruckus in the studio. Have Wanda Smith, evidently anxious to protect Haddish, recommended that individuals like her, since she's genuine, Williams never needed to avoid a discussion through a logical hit addressing while being genuine became attractive in the business. To add to the show, he dropped a stunner by claiming that Haddish is just well known in light of the fact that she was connected to her supposed heartfelt association with Brad Pitt, suggesting her not-so-secret fixation on him as the debate unfurled. Williams paused for a minute to laud a few other dark female humorists, including Melanie Charo and Miss Laura. He accepted these entertainers had been treacherously disregarded. Williams caused to notice the twofold guidelines enduring in the business, where a person of color's appearance is unjustifiably held against her, as per him, which you resemble shouldn't be held against you. He likewise directed out that the business inclination towards sideline ability for the people who adjust to a specific form. In the meantime, Tiffany Gehenna's new way of behaving has brought up issues about whether she is still in charge of her activity. Remarkably, she was captured right off the bat a Friday morning on doubt of driving impaired, as detailed by the Beverly Slopes Police Division. The capture happened after her presentation at the Giggle manufacturing plant in West Hollywood for the Satire Club's without yearly Thanksgiving feast. Strangely, Haddish had additionally been set up for prison before that very morning. When asked by a crowd of people part at the Snicker processing plant about her request for a man in uniform being addressed, Haddish answered with an all-around conveyed zinger, recommending she moved with the circumstance anyway. This isn't whenever she first utilized this line. She recently sent it after her 2022 Georgia DUI during an appearance on the This Evening show. In those days, she entertainingly shared her request for a decent man in uniform being replied by God. and she underlined that she got an incredible legal advisor and was resolving things. At any rate, the young lady's trip star later imparted to ET that her Thanksgiving Day included offering back by taking care of oppressed individuals at the Giggle processing plant. Haddish had conveyed a unique occasion set at the scene's 43rd yearly free gala for local people. Plea in regards to her capture, Haddish made sense of that her Tesla left itself when she snoozed off yet wound up obstructing part of the road. She communicated her aim to look for help to find out about equilibrium and limits, stressing her obligation to self-awareness. In spite of her capture, Haddish referenced that she's feeling great and adulated the Beverly Slopes Police Division for their amazing skill in dealing with the circumstance. Police affirmed to ET that the 43-year-old comic was referred to on Friday, November 24. Observers purportedly saw Gehenna's vehicle halted on Beverly Drive, with her having all the earmarks of being sleeping at the worst possible time anyway. Driving impaired isn't the main late occurrence, including Tiffany Haddish in her vehicle she took to Instagram to openly discuss her thoughts about the elements inside her group and circle. In an ardent 22-minute discourse, she exposed her disappointments and concerns, furnishing watchers with a brief look into the difficulties she faces as a person of note and performer. The video started with Haddish tending to a typical misguided judgment about her. The discernment that she is unendingly quite sweet, plainly disturbed. She communicated her exhaustion at being categorized into this picture and looked to share a more legitimate depiction of herself. Don't request that I do, just goodness, she's a decent individual. Tiffany's so great, thus sweet, pleasant, that decent. I'm drained to be a good to you, raggedy, and you all let Harjic sluggish, quit being so languid. One of her primary concerns, Tiffany Haddish underscored in her speech, was her disappointment with those near her making the most of her liberality in a way that would sound natural to her. She communicated dissatisfaction at their apparent lethargy. She enthusiastically encouraged individuals not to anticipate that she should work free of charge, particularly in the event that she had repaid them in the past. Gehenna's supplication reached out to the preposterous requests put on her. She shared examples where she was approached to travel broadly, leaving her home state for one more without non-stop flights, just to be offered remuneration that missed the mark concerning what she accepted she was worth. I'm tired of being pleasant, she proclaimed, featuring the cost such circumstances were taking on her patience in an earnest. Second, Haddish tended to any youngsters who may be watching, saying sorry for the unequivocal idea of her complaints anyway. She granted a pivotal illustration about self-worth, expressing, assuming there's any children watching this, I'm sorry children, however you know your worth, and don't allow no one to, regardless of whether they're your companion, regardless of whether it's someone you love, regardless of whether, don't allow them to involve you. As the talk unfurled, Haddish dug further into her profound scene, uncovering a layer of envy that frequently goes with her persistent effort. She enunciated her dissatisfaction at seeing others benefit from her endeavors while feeling dismissed or abused in kind, discussing languid individuals in the business getting a charge out of extravagances like yachts. While Tiffany Haddish worked tried sincerely yet confronted difficulties, showed the lopsided characteristics she found in her work connections. Yet it's not by any means the only time Tiffany's conduct caused a stir. Last July, there was a video of Tiffany Haddish meeting a fan at a ball game. As a rule, fans yell a superstar's name to stand out enough to be noticed. Yet for Tiffany's situation, it was the reverse way around. The video shows Haddish boisterously yelling the fan's name again and again. She wryly continued to holler the fan's name energetically as the fan attempted to embrace her and express reverence. The 42-year-old unexpectedly quit yelling and said, "Don't contact me like that." Individuals via virtual entertainment responded to the video, thinking it was superfluous for Haddish to deal with a fan like that. Some said she might have said something and left, calling the situation additional. Now, there's gossip circumventing that Haddish has been genuinely worried for some time, potentially making sense of her uncommon conduct in the event that you missed it. Back in September last year, Haddish said she lost all that in the wake of being blamed for kids say, in a claim that was subsequently excused in August. A 22-year elderly person named Jane Doe recorded a claim guaranteeing that Haddish and another comic Ari Lance's constrict at her and her 15-year-old sibling to do unseemly things on camera when they were kids. The grievance said Lance's had an influence in the video, doing intriguing behaves like rubbing oil onto her sibling's back, after the shooter's sibling purportedly called his mom steamed and not having any.